The Dearborn Independent, June 25th, 1927, Volume 27, Number 36. Mr. Ford's page of the Dearborn Independent. Work, the greatest power. There is knowledge, even in mistakes, because mistakes are part of the material of experience. Experience is gained by work, that is, the kind of experience that leads to doing something useful or producing something that will be beneficial to the community. It is a mistake, however, to scrap a thing because it is defective without first ascertaining whether or not the defect can be remedied. More knowledge is thus gained. If constructive methods are not followed, unemployment waits in the background. The winning of security can only be accomplished by continually growing, making, and carrying things, and doing so in the best way. Work is the greatest power. Mistakes, whether they occur in social region or in the building of a new machine, are often the result of active research. The mind knows the end which it wishes to reach. It sees an opening here and enters it. It explores far enough to discover that the opening does not lead where the mind wishes to go. Another opening is explored in like manner and withdrawn from, and so on. Experience being gained at every step. This is not waste by any means. It is not evil. It is not blameworthy. It is part of the material of knowledge. You know your way from your home to the shop, but a real part of that knowledge is the other knowledge that certain other ways do not lead to the shop. The negative knowledge is in the back of your mind, unused, but it is part of the knowledge, just the same. A piece of mechanism that does not work, we know, is wrong. What does not work perfectly requires improvement. What breaks down periodically requires strengthening. But if the whole thing is wrong, it will not work at all, except distractively and wastefully. Within our range of knowledge and necessity, we have made things work. We have found certain principles, and while there may be newer and better applications of these principles, we have laid the foundation. Certain foundations have been laid in the region where we adjust our relations to one another as social beings. We have all the same needs, and we're all subject to the same necessity of supplying them. And that necessity is relentless the same. Needs can be supplied only by work, someone's work. Not only relentless, but inevitable is this necessity, for it is marvelous to consider how very, very few in the world can live without work. There are a few aged, a few ill folk, a few pitiable offsprings of the wealthy, that is all. Of the rest of the world, of any condition, those who work are a mighty ocean. Those who do not are but a handful. There are parts of the world where this principle of work is not understood, but it is painfully forcing its way into understanding. There are perhaps more parts of the world where the differences in work are not completely understood. Some work in one sphere, some in another. The spheres feed one another. In the ordinary household, the husband is the breadwinner, the wife the manager of the home affairs. Both work in their own way, and the product of their joint toil is the home. In the industrial world, these spheres are duplicated, the managerial and the manual being more commingled than ever before, and the joint product is service to the world and a living for the man who rendered the service. What needs to be done is obvious: the winning of security for those who work, whatever their work may be. All human affairs are mutable. The factor of individual discipline steps in at unexpected moments. There are troubles and difficulties of one kind or another, assailing all people of all kinds. Sorrows and joys, disappointments and anxieties, losses and tragedies are not the monopoly of one group. Every life is very much like another these days. But it should be made possible indeed. It is perhaps not too much to say that it can be made possible for every man to be assured at least that there will always be the opportunity for work afforded to him. The basic insecurity of the industrial realm may at least be abolished, even though the other insecurities life remain what they are. There are three main divisions of work: growing the food and the clothing material which people use, manufacturing the tools with which these necessities are raised and turned into articles of use, transporting both to those who need them. Growing, making, and carrying, these are the three principal things we do. And as there is always something to do in all of these lines, at least always in two of them, unemployment would not occur if industry were organized with a view to the whole need. This would seem to be one direction in which progress can be made for the purpose of giving security of employment. This is the making of legitimate improvements. And with this assured, other improvements could be undertaken without that stress of mind and need which enters into the making of so many advances. There will never be security if destructive changes are substituted for constructive. There is no ingenuity in simply destroying things. If work is fundamental, if industry is real, a beneficial and productive fact, then the imperfections which accompany it, like unemployment or uncertainty of employment, would seem to be susceptible of adjustment. Cure the defects without destroying a fundamentally good and tried method.